Okay, so another news topic that we didn't cover last week, but we thought we'd take a look at. Horizon Steel Frontiers has been announced. It's a collaboration between Sony and NCSoft, seemingly, an MMORG based in the Horizon universe. And there are some interesting quirks to this because it's been announced for PC and mobile. However, not for PlayStation, which is kind of weird because, Where Winds Meet has recently come out. And that's PC, mobile, and PlayStation 5, but certainly not for Horizon Steel Frontiers. Oliver, what's going on here?
Well, this is supposedly an action MMO game developed by NCSoft in the Horizon universe. You may be familiar with this because there are a lot of Horizon games,
Right.
many Horizon games, even some remasters of Horizon games, some PS5 Pro versions of Horizon games. Indeed, this is not the only multiplayer Horizon game that is thought to be in development. There's also one apparently at Guerrilla, which is maybe more of a smaller scale co-op kind of experience. This is branded as an MMO, although I'll touch on that in a minute. I'm not sure that's necessarily the term I would use. Technically, at least, this does seem to be UE5. They discussed, actually, in an interview I pulled up with IGN just now, that it is UE5. There are also some job listings prior to this announcement that suggested it would be UE5. But I think that's pretty impressive because it does look a lot like the Horizon games. Like the environments, the foliage, the enemies. You'd be perfectly reasonable if you mistook this for Decima. It looks similar to Decima in a lot of ways. And it does look quite handsome, I would say. It's a very good-looking title. Now, of course, this game is not just releasing on PC. It's also releasing on mobile platforms, right? So you said it's not releasing on PS5. It is releasing on mobile platforms. And I can tell you that obviously those features, those key UE5 features are not going to be supported on mobile platforms. So that's another area where we might see some interesting divergence here. But one thing that did strike me in this trailer is the fact that the looks of the characters differ considerably from their PlayStation 5 equivalents in the Horizon games, because the characters, especially the female characters, have that kind of almost like that, I hate to say it, but like that kind of K-pop look to them, where they look very clean. They have the exaggerated eyes, almost more of a childlike look, I would say. You see that less in the male characters, but it is interesting here because that is a significant divergence from the Horizon titles that Guerrilla has published. But one downside potentially here of going with UE5 with this expansive visual feature set, I'm sure Alex will talk about this, is that performance is, I would say, pretty awful. Now, of course, you need to caution that with the fact this is early footage. This game is not going to come out for, they're talking about 2026, I believe, so potentially up to a year from now. But yeah, it's dropping frames pretty hard. It's in the teens in some places. That's not too good. But yeah, that's certainly an area of concern, especially given the engine's pedigree and other software. We often, UE5 open world titles, that's often a recipe for some worry there. But I think in terms of this game being branded as an MMO, I think it's an interesting kind of branding. But this game is an MMO much more like Destiny 2 is an MMO, I feel like, than a game like World of Warcraft is an MMO or Final Fantasy XIV is an MMO, because this game seems to be like, to make this game work, you'd have to extensively shard it, which basically means to place players in their own instances with a more limited number of other players. Then in a game like World of Warcraft, where you still are using techniques like sharding, but you're placing players in much larger instances with much more players, or even in the case of a product like World of Warcraft Classic, these older World of Warcraft expansions, they don't use sharding hardly at all. They might use sharding at launch to mitigate some extreme demand for the game, but for the most part, you're not going to get that sharded kind of experience. So you basically have this contiguous open world. But yeah, just a couple thoughts there. I think for me personally, I'm like very interested in new MMOs. I love MMOs, especially World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV games like that. I don't think this is necessarily that. What I think it is probably a pretty decent recreation of the Horizon experience in the confines of a kind of multiplayer-oriented game with significant sharding systems. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be a great technical performer, at least based on this early footage. Things could change a lot, of course.
I mean, it does look like a Horizon game. It presents like a Horizon game. Even the UI is, the HUD is like a Horizon game. So it does the job. I mean, in terms of the lack of PlayStation version, I mean, obviously, if it's UE5, they can do it on PlayStation 5. I can only assume that Sony doesn't want any kind of confusion with the Guerrilla-developed game, which I thought they were possibly one and the same. I thought maybe this was the multiplayer
I did
Horizon
too
game.
originally.
Yeah. If they are actually separate projects, that probably explains the fact that you are playing it on PlayStation. curious to see more, I think. I don't really have any opinion beyond that one way or another. It looks like a Horizon game, but with a lot of players.
Potentially.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bit of a shrug for me at the moment. I guess at least they have announced the game by showing gameplay, which doesn't often happen these days. Just thinking about Forza Horizon 6's sunglasses reveal.
Oh, yeah. Desk reveal.
Yeah, the desk pan. Alex, is this a bit of a shrug for you?
Well, I thought the characters they did make me laugh a little bit because I was actually like Oliver. I was like, hey, is this Decima? It's a bit weird to see a different developer using Decima. And then I saw the character. I was like, nah, this has nothing to do. I was like that lady has cat ears. I did get a laugh regarding controversies of the original game. I do kind of laugh a little bit here that the foliage doesn't move when characters go through it. And that reminds me a bit of the original game, which they really tightened up in the second one. But like, yeah, just like all this stuff going on, like massive explosions and you know, the little waves in the wind, the vertex animation, the character just doesn't do anything to it. It's going to be interesting to see a Horizon title with traversal stutter. That's for certain.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say, Alex? You've.
I'm sorry, I'm so jaded. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we're going to take a look at this even when we see more, or when we can actually play it. I'm certainly intrigued.